Welcome. Today we are going to be taking apart this MSI GT72 Dominator gaming laptop. This looks like it's a 17-inch and the actual model of the series is a 6QD. So for this particular one, it looks like it already has the case screws removed, so we're going to go ahead and skip that part. But of course you want to remove any screws that are in that bottom cover first, including the one behind the warranty sticker, and then find the seam in between the bottom case and the bottom cover and just kind of pop it up. Alright, so once we have the bottom cover off, most of the screws are about a 2 or a 2.5 small Phillips head. So the first thing we're going to do, it looks like there's quite a bit of screws that have already been removed from this case. So just go around the perimeter and remove all of the Phillips head screws that you see, including in the middle as well. And then we can go ahead and remove the interface board. Just pull that screw and pull it out of the motherboard connector, and then you can remove the other connector with your fingernails. Alright, so for the hard drive, we'll just flip up on that little retainer using our fingernail, and then we can pull that drive out. Alright, so there's a couple connectors for the fans. So I'll just remove any screws holding in that cooling fan, and then once you move it out of the recess, you should be able to get in there with your fingernails and pull that little connector out. Just makes it easier to move the fan out of the way. And we'll repeat with the other side. Just using your fingernail, just pull up on the little connector. Alright, so just make double sure that you've got all the screws that are in the little black bottom case, and double check because there are some in kind of a weird spot. They're pretty well hidden. And then you can go around the perimeter in between the palm rest and the bottom case. And using a flat edge, just get in there and separate the two. Just kind of want to put it in there and kind of wiggle it. They're little plastic snaps, so once you get them, you'll know it pops out. And then lifting from the side that is not the motherboard ports, you want to lift from the other side, and then once you've kind of freed that, you want to kind of push it this way to clear the ports that are going into the motherboard. Also make sure there's no ribbons kind of overlapping it. Like this small cable was kind of held in these little clips. Once you have those out, then you'll be able to get into the inside of the laptop. Alright, so these speakers are just kind of hanging loose, so we'll go ahead and remove those first. Just wiggle those connectors out, and then remove any kind of fastener or grommet that are holding these speakers. Apparently in this one, these have been removed somewhat recently and are missing these screws. Alright, so we have the battery pack here. This type of connector, it's best to have fingernails and just try to get a fingernail in either side of that connector. Work it up. Alright, so we can go ahead and remove the optical drive as well. Gonna remove that one screw and then push the optical drive out laterally. And that will clear the SATA connector. Alright, we'll go ahead and also remove the Wi-Fi card. Just lift those antennas off and remove the screw. Alright, the heatsink is right here on top, and it looks like about 8 screws to remove for the video card and the CPU. So we'll go ahead and remove these screws. They are numbered, but it does not matter what order you take them off. It's just when you're reinstalling it with the thermal paste. Alright, once those screws feel loose, you can go ahead and just kind of wiggle it. It does sometimes take a little bit of kind of jiggling around to loosen the thermal paste. Sometimes it's pretty glued in there. And I do see one more screw right there, so we'll go ahead and remove that. Give it a little bit more wiggle. And then you can remove the heatsink. Alright, the video card looks like it's just got one more screw, so we can go ahead and remove that. And then we'll gently pull out while wiggling. And there is the video card. Alright, now we can go ahead and remove this motherboard. So we'll go ahead and first remove the ribbon connectors that are held on. Looks like some of them have some tape. So we'll go ahead and just pull the plastic back on these connectors. I should be able to wiggle them out. Looks like a lot of flip up retainers as well. Just flip them up, pull out the ribbon. Alright, this ribbon we'll go ahead and disconnect from the USB side. It looks like the connector's on the other side of the motherboard. One more. Go ahead and release that one. Looks like we are pretty clear. I'm going to remove that ribbon as well for the, looks like the audio board. And then we can start removing the screws. Alright, so now we have the screws and the ribbons removed. We can go ahead and start wiggling the motherboard. And it looks like I forgot one ribbon. That's why it's good to just kind of wiggle before you start pulling it out, just in case you kind of missed one of the little ribbons. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove these RAM sticks. Just spread the retainers, they'll flip up, and then just pull them out. And it looks like just one Phillips screw for that optical drive SATA board. Just remove the screw, and then wiggle it straight up and out. Alright, same for the in out board here. Just kind of lift up with our fingernails so it pops out of the connector. And we'll go ahead and finish removing the ribbons. Alright, so we'll finish up with the palm rest and remove the USB board. It's like one screw and then a couple little plastic retainers. Alright, the keyboard we're going to go ahead and leave on the unit, but if you need to replace the keyboard, of course just remove the Phillips screws to pull that backing plate off, and then you'll be able to access the keyboard. And then the touchpad is adhered on, so you would need a heat gun to pull that off. And of course there's just a couple screws holding that on. And then we're going to go ahead and leave the little board attached. So now we can go ahead and separate the palm rest from the display. So we'll kind of want to make sure we untape any of the cables that are coming from the display, the Wi-Fi antennas, and the video cable. Just make sure that they are loose and ready to separate. Alright, before we separate the palm rest and display assembly, we're going to need to remove the clutch cover here. So just get a flat tool in between the little snap and the back part. Right here at the top. Let's see if I can get that. It's going to be right in here. It's the black piece. Once you open it up, it goes across the middle. So I think we unsnap the other side. Alright, so we'll just work the front and back until we get all of these snaps loose. It is a little bit of a pain, so you might have to open and close the laptop a few times to kind of get it all the way freed. There we go. So basically just kind of popped off after we got all the snaps off. So you'll have to remove that before you can separate the two pieces. Alright, so now we're ready to separate the display and the palm rest. So we'll go ahead and open it up and remove the hinge screws. And before you release the last screws on each side, I would put a hand underneath just to support both sides while you remove the last screws. Otherwise, you might risk breaking a piece of the palm rest off. Alright, so we've separated the palm rest from the display assembly, and now we can open up the display assembly to show you how to replace any of the inside parts. Like most screens, you just separate the bezel from the back cover first. So this one, just kind of grab that inner seam with our fingernails. And then it also helps to go around the outside with a flat object as well. once you got it started, you can just start popping and work your way around. Alright, now we have the bezel off. You can see you have a few screws for the hinges. There's going to be a couple screws to remove the LCD display, and then just a webcam that's just kind of hanging in there. So all in all, this is real easy to remove and replace any of these parts in this particular laptop. And if you replace the LCD screen, just remember to, when you remove the screw, to gently flip it over so you can remove that little video cable, usually held on with just a little bit of tape, and you peel it back and unstick it. But we're going to go ahead and leave this one complete. It's a good LCD. So if this video helped you or you like the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.